Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's review, I'm going to be doing a review to episode 3 of the Traitors Series 3 2024. I need to take a deep breath because there's a lot to talk about in this episode. It just went from 50% excitement to 150% excitement. Like, I was excited, but now I am excited. So, at the beginning of the episode, obviously we found out that from the previous episode, there was no murder. So obviously the traitors were able to just talk about the situation and, you know, give their thoughts to each other about who potentially could be a traitor and who obviously isn't. And at the beginning of the episode, Kasim basically said he kind of felt like it was unexpected for his name to come up. He doesn't really know what he's done for his name to come up. And Dan said that obviously he thinks that Charlotte and Kasim should now work together because they both actually thought that each other were traitors. And actually, does that now mean that both of them are faithfuls to at least each other? Like, can they now just trust each other? So yeah, Dan basically gave that bit of advice. Mina also said that she's basically been working all day as a traitor and it's a shame not to be able to murder somebody, so it kind of was a waste of a day, for example, but it's an extra day for her to kind of work out who's a traitor, well, not who's a traitor, but like who's working out whether she's a traitor or not, or whether, you know, she can have more bonds and, you know, connections with these faithfuls. Livy said that she actually felt a little bit upset at the fact that sometimes she upsets other people, so she said that's kind of accidentally how she sometimes is, and she doesn't like having to upset other people, so she kind of feels bad, probably because she was putting, you know, Ellen's name in a hat and saying that she could have been a traitor when actually she was completely faithful by the end of it. And Alex also explained that he thought he'd be a good judge of character, but clearly not, because obviously the person he thought was a traitor isn't, and yeah, the traitors are still all three in the game. Armani explained that she's quite popular, she seems to be quite liked, and somebody, I think Leanne, said that, you know, nobody's going to expect her to be a traitor because she is so outspoken and loud. Charlotte said that Armani was kind of interrogating her, and she apologised for that, and she basically said to Armani, well actually I basically have now solidified in the fact that I think you're a faithful. And then Claudia came in, you know, revealed the good news that no one was murdered, and she asked if anybody was a fan of Johnny Cash. Liv explained that as a kid, she was in some sort of accident and she got a cancer that led her to have one of her eyes removed, and she ended up having a prosthetic right eye, which Armani was completely shocked about. She was like, well, it's an amazing eye because you can't even tell. And Liv was chatting with Leon and Armani, basically talking to them about her story. So she's like, yeah, like she's a lot braver now, and you know, she's gone through a lot of stuff, but she's one of those people that she doesn't give up, and that is exactly what she said to the camera. She said, I don't give up. Anytime I feel like I want to, you know, step back from something, it actually makes I want to do it that even more, I'm presuming. Mina and Leanne were having a chat outside, with Leanne telling her that she thinks Armani could be a bit of a suspicion in terms of being a traitor. And yeah, Mina basically said to the camera that with Armani, you know, she's potentially going to seal her in banishment if people still keep thinking that she is being a bit too weird or a little bit too loud. They're going to end up voting her out of the game. And Mina also said to Linda that she wanted to have a chat with her later on. Jake, Joe and Dan were all having a conversation, and Jake said that there's a bit of substance in terms of Cass being a traitor, with Linda, for example, saying that she 100% defends him. Is she trying to defend a traitor because she's a traitor? And also, is he also a traitor as well? Dan said that traitors wouldn't care about other traitors at this point, even so early in the game. They will just go for whoever they want to go for. Dan said he doesn't think Cass is a traitor, whereas Joe and Jake were basically like, well, we don't really agree with that. We think Cass is a traitor. And Dan basically said that he doesn't feel like he needs to follow or be in any group. He will just kind of vote and do whatever he wants. I think Dan's quite good. I feel like he's loud enough that he's voicing his opinions to different little groups of people, but he's not loud enough that it's like Armani, for example, that he is dominant in every single conversation. Everyone's like, Dan this, Dan that, Dan's too loud. So I think he's being loud enough, but also quiet enough at the same time. He also pulled Cass for a chat and basically said to him that people are talking about him and, you know, saying his name as potentially being a traitor. And he also said to Cass that he thinks people are being quite dismissive with their reasons. So why do you think it's him? Oh, it doesn't matter. And he said obviously Jake was kind of being dismissive of that. And Cass basically just said he's acting with honesty and integrity. He's just acting like he normally does, and this is just the type of person he is. Outside of the game and his work, he is just a genuinely nice person. Alex explained to Jake, Joe and Tyler that he's going to probably try the Armani theory at the table, basically saying how he doesn't really trust her. And they were in the kitchen at this point, and I think Armani just walked past the kitchen and Tyler said people are scared about voting for her, and then she just walked past the kitchen. I don't think she heard, but it was just that thing of what if she heard and came in and said, are you talking about me? No, it wasn't me. So they ended up doing their second mission, which was obviously a Johnny Cash inspired game. They basically had to row the boat from Claudia Winkleman through different rafts to the Ring of Fire. Once they get to the Ring of Fire, as long as they had enough fuel, they were able to light the Ring of Fire. Whoever was in the circle was able to get immunity. So obviously the traitors didn't need the immunity, but if they were in there, then it doesn't look as suspicious. Whereas obviously the faithfuls wanted to get as many of them in their circle as possible to get immunity. So along the way, they were able to get either cash added to their prize fund in replacement for 2 people having to step out of the boat, or the fuel, which again required 2 people to step out of the boat. Lisa said that she had a little bit of experience in terms of boat riding, and she ended up becoming the voice of the boat, so basically telling them how to row and how to use the oars and things like that, and they were all sitting in their little groups. Francesca said she's not afraid of hard work, and she's got 4 boys, which is for her is a massive challenge every day. So something like this, herding sheep or herding cats or cows or whatever, it's quite easy for her. They were trying to row the boat, and every so often Mina basically said, oh, everyone's counting different numbers, like we're all out of sync and things like that. So she was being disruptive without being disruptive, without making it obvious, basically. And then for them to get the first fuel, they had to sacrifice 2 players. Charlotte basically said that everyone is being selfish, and I think at first Freddie was like, I'm happy to get off because I'm struggling with the rowing a little bit, but I don't really want to get out of the boat because obviously I'd like that immunity. In the end, Charlotte and Jake got off, and Charlotte said that, you know, the traitors will probably end up sacrificing at least one of themselves because they're already safe anyway. And yeah, the next raft that they came to was money. They didn't want it. I think Armani got off and was like, right, are we taking the money and we're sacrificing 2 people or no? She was like, I'm not getting off the boat, and there wasn't a second person anyway, so they left that money and then they carried on. Leanne said the money means nothing to her, especially if she gets murdered tonight, because it's like, well, what's the point of doing a group challenge to get money to then lose the money and not actually be in the game anyway. Charlotte said it looks like her jumping off of the boat is actually a traitor move if people are already assuming and thinking that she's a traitor. Jake said that the boat had gone past 2 rafts and he's absolutely fuming. The fact that him and Charlotte are putting themselves up for potentially being murdered that evening, and the rest of them are just sailing along like as if like, yeah, they've taken one for the team, we're all fine, one of them's going to go, done, sorted. That's not really a team playery kind of a game, so they weren't very happy. And then for the next one again, I think there was another 2 fuels. So again, Cass was like, I'll sacrifice myself for the fuel. And I think at this point as well, Linda was kind of moaning because Mina wasn't rowing properly. So obviously it's traitor against traitor, but I don't know whether Linda was trying to cause a bit of drama, but she wasn't rowing properly, and Mina basically was just like, I need to get off this raft because this woman is moaning at me and telling me what to do. So Kaz and Mina got off on that one. And yeah, she basically said to Kaz, Linda's doing my head in. The final raft had £5,000 on it. Maya got out straight away. She was like, you know what, screw this, we need to add some money to the prize pot. And Freddie was like, actually, you know what, I'm going to get out too. So I guess the 2 besties sticking together. But instead of kind of being happy that the boat was continuing on, Freddie straight away was just like, well, we kind of want them to lose, because I get his point. The way he said it and how quickly he said it maybe wasn't the right choice of the way to do it, but I think it was he didn't want them to win, because then actually everybody would be in the same boat, minus the pun, of not having immunity. Whereas if they all get to the end, the traitors have immunity, the faithful, they have immunity, and then you've got like 5 or 6 that are kind of a bit outnumbered, and it's kind of a bit unfair, because they've taken one for the team to go on, but then have got nothing out of it. So technically those ones that have got off the boat should be immune. Or at least the team shouldn't vote for them to go out. So yeah, I know what he meant when he was like, I actually don't want them to win because I want it to kind of be a fair game for everyone. But at the same time, when he said that so quickly after they got off the boat, it does come across as a bit traitory. And Maya said that he seemed like he was a little bit nervous, and she basically said that he is now coming across as a traitor. Liv basically explained that they could obviously now try and narrow it down a little bit. Armani said that nothing's been brought to her attention about, you know, her being potentially a traitor. Jake said he's got his eyes on Jake was speaking to Freddie and Mina and Dan, saying that he was annoyed people didn't get off the boat. And I think Dan was here as well. Yeah, he was having a chat with Dan as well. Basically, yeah, Dan was just saying that that's not the way he would do it. That, you know, it's all a game and you just kind of have to just deal with people being selfish. Mina said that it seemed like Armani was obviously, she's had her name thrown around and people have suspicions on her, and also Kaz's name has also been thrown around too. Charlotte was speaking to Kaz and Maya. Charlotte basically said people keep going for the quiet people, with Maya saying obviously people have suspicions now of my sister, but she does always act like this. But again, with Freddie strategizing, kind of seems like either of the two of them could be traitory. Leanne, Joe and Linda were having a chat. Leanne asked Linda whether she had any names of people or suspicions of people, and she said, no, I have absolutely no idea. And Joe said, as per usual, Linda is just sitting back and letting everyone else do the talking. So I guess Linda and Armani at this point were not safe, because Linda's a bit too quiet, Armani's a bit too loud. Whereas Mina, she's just going around chatting to people. She looks normal, she looks like a faithful. And then Armani was speaking to Leon and Tyler briefly, and she said that she thinks Kaz is a good asset to the team, and she doesn't think he's a traitor. So again, why would she back Kaz when they all think that he's a traitor? Because now they're going to think she's a traitor, and if they get her out and she's a traitor, they're going to just go straight for Kaz, and then it will be revealed he's a faithful. So yeah, maybe people are just good judges of character, or they're trying to save the traitor. Jake also explained that him and Charlotte sacrificed themselves, and Dan said everyone's entitled to make their own decisions, and tough luck for them for, you know, not getting off the boat. And it's just that kind of play, that's just the kind of game that they're all playing, that, you know, self-centered, self-belief game that you have to put yourself first. You can't worry about what other people are doing. You can make friends and you can make bonds, but when you have to let go, or when they get taken down, you have to just let them go. Jake and Tyler had a quick chat, and Jake basically ranted at him, saying Dan has absolutely annoyed me, with Tyler saying, look, it's not him, he's just happened to be the first person that's caught your anger and actually fought back. Yeah, Armani said, well, Jake basically told Tyler that Armani had said Cass is 100% faithful, and Jake said that tonight's round table was going to be quite hostile. Mina said that she was nervous for the round table, and again, Armani's name has been mentioned, and Kaz's name has also been mentioned. Armani said that she's feeling alright, she's having a great time, and Cass basically said he's got a big black cross on his name and he's not really sure why. And Jake basically decided to start the round table by saying that he thinks he's going to be murdered tonight, but he wants to lay everything down on the table just so he can get everything out of his brain onto the table. He started about Linda, saying that, you know, her comment about Cass being 100% a faithful kind of puts her in the spotlight of being a traitor, but then also is she backing another traitor, and actually then Cass is a traitor as well. Joe chimed in and said that Linda seems to have no idea about who the traitors are, and she keeps deflecting on that. And she said, well, actually, Joe, I think you're a traitor, which he said, oh, obviously, you know, that's just perfect. Like, you're just picking me because I've just picked you. And then, obviously, her situation with Jake, she picked Jake as well. And Jake basically said that, actually, I think you're only picking me because I picked you, and I think she's probably doing the same thing with Joe now as well. Jake also said that with Kaz, him being a doctor, the connection of him saving people during the day, murdering people at night, it just works. The job just works. And he also said that, you know, Armani could also potentially be a traitor because they all kind of seem to keep defending each other. Because Linda said Cass is 100% faithful. Armani also said that Cass is 100% faithful. Linda doesn't really know what's going on, and Armani's too loud. So it's a kind of a decent trio. Armani said that she doesn't really see it with the Cass thing. She doesn't think he's a traitor. Maya chimed in and said that she thinks Freddie was doing a bit of game playing and he wasn't happy for the team. when they were doing their raft game, and he actually wanted the team to lose. So again, that put a little bit of an inkling of people thinking that Freddie could have been the traitor. And Alex explained also with his theory that Armani was acting weird in the mission, and she basically replied back saying people are going to have different personalities in this game, people act differently, people you just have to get used to that and you have to just respect that. Leon said he respected her for, you know, being open and confident about that, and that he thinks one of the traitors could be Cass. Cass had to back himself here, and he said he did a toast for someone whose first language wasn't even English, so the fact that, you know, welcoming her into the game, this was Yin right at the beginning, yeah, he did a toast on behalf of her, not just for a bit of fun. He did it for her to kind of be like, look, we respect you, and you know, you got into the game, and that's the most important thing, whether you won or lost. Joe basically said that Cass reminded him of a politician, someone who doesn't really tell the truth, or someone who's just saying a lot of stuff but also not at the same time. And then Tyler jumped in and said that Maya wouldn't be here if Armani wasn't a traitor or something like that, because he said it was a bit suspicious for two sisters who know each other to both be faithfuls, so at least one of them has to be a traitor, and obviously people already had their suspicions on Armani. And Armani said, yeah, I completely get it, obviously having two people that know each other in the game, but she's 100% faithful and she's basically just been playing the game as she should be. And Maya said that she's not 100% sure in her sister, but she thinks 60% that she might be a traitor. Saying to Francesca, because Francesca said to her, do you think she's still a traitor? And she was like, yeah, I think so, potentially 60%. And Armani basically was just saying that, well, actually, at the round table, she's now just found out another two people who think she's a traitor, but she hasn't been spoken to about it before. It's kind of all just been left on the radar. So it's kind of like, well, hang on, why didn't these people come and talk to me, ask me questions, pull me through a chat, anything like that? It's kind of just, oh, hang on, wait for the round table and now just spill random new information. When it came to the votes, Francesca voted for Maya, Joe voted for Kasim, Lisa voted for Joe, Freddie voted for Armani, Armani voted for Charlotte, Alex voted for Armani, Charlotte voted for Kasim, both Maya and Kasim voted for Freddie, Jake voted for Armani, Anna voted for Kasim, Mina, obviously the shock of the night, she voted for Armani in a bit of a weird traitory turn where she was like, she's going down anyway, so I might as well just give her an extra vote and knock her out. And I think Amina said to the camera, she's like, Armani said to the camera, she was like, well, hang on, the sisterhood, why is she now going against me? And then Leanne, Leon, Dan all voted for Armani as well. Linda voted for Jake just because of that situation. And finally, Livy and Tyler also both voted for Armani. So Armani, one of the three traitors, was banished. Her sister obviously was weeping tears, not as to whether she was a traitor or not, just the fact that her sister was obviously now out of the game. She was banished. She also revealed she was a traitor, and everyone was basically really excited that she was out of the game. But they also then obviously, I guess, came to terms with the fact that Maya couldn't be a traitor. So that kind of solidified her place in the game, and hopefully they don't get rid of her. And imagine if she gets all the way to the end and she's like, oh my god, sis, I got all the way to the end and you can actually have, like, you know, 15p of my prize fund. But yeah, anyway, we found out in terms of the murder, it would be one of those people that got off the raft. So either Charlotte or Freddie, Jake or Kasim, Maya or Mina. Mina obviously can't be murdered because she is a traitor. So Charlotte, Freddie, Jake, Kasim or Maya was going to get murdered. So I haven't actually found out who's been murdered because that wasn't revealed in episode 3. But I guess with the Charlotte situation, if she was to get murdered, it would take off the fact that obviously she was a traitor. So I think then they're going to leave Charlotte alone because people already have suspicions on Charlotte. Freddie, if they get rid of him, suspicions will be on Maya in terms of a second sister potentially could have been. And I guess the other way around, if they get rid of Maya, suspicions will be on Freddie, who already has suspicions on him. Jake doesn't really have any suspicions other than Linda, so I think they're going to get rid of him at some point, but not yet. Otherwise, again, that's going to put eyes on Linda. And then obviously the only other person is Kasim, who there's about 3, 4, 5 people that have suspicions on him, so it's then who has actually murdered him, or who didn't really know him, but who's just picked up on the information and, you know, decided to just follow the crowd, basically. So, yeah. Linda was surprised so many people voted for Armani, including for Mina, and Mina said that the game had to change. Tyler spoke to Jake and basically said it's Kasim and the other one is Freddie. And Maya was kind of in tears a little bit and she said, I don't really know whether to celebrate or not. And she also said to the camera that her sister is like her best her best friend. So, you know, she's sad that she's out, but at the same time, she has to carry on and, you know, win the game. Livy was talking to Maya and Anna, and she basically said to Maya that she's kind of proved that she's now 100% faithful, and she's also taken on the Freddie thing as extra intel on board, that he might be potentially a traitor, or a little bit at least suspicious, or just strange. And Linda explained to Mina that she's very shocked, and Cass basically said that, you know, he didn't vote for Armani, so now people are probably going to come after him just because of that. So Cass said it feels like it's hit after hit for him. He keeps being involved in strange situations. And Joe, Jake and Leon, Joe basically said to the two of them that he still thinks one of the traitors is Cass. Maya told Freddie that she felt a little bit bad for voting for him, and he basically said that he felt a little bit blindsided by her, thinking that actually the two of them were friends. And Charlotte told Livy that, well, Charlotte and Livy were having a chat with each other, and as Cass left the room, Charlotte shouted over, "Oh, Cass, please don't kill me." Obviously, because people now think that he's a traitor. I don't think she thinks he's a traitor anymore, but I think it was just a bit of a joke, because obviously people already have their suspicions. But whether or not Livy does anything with that information is a different story. Mina and Linda we're going to have a quick chat as the traitors, and she basically said to Linda that actually we need to ignore Armani's game plan about being louder, because actually what we've done is we've been quieter, we've been more discreet and subtle, and people don't think that we're traitors. I think Mina's had such a good game. Linda, people are already suspicious on her, so she isn't going to last very much longer. But Mina has had such a good game. She's blended in very well. She's been doing the crying. She's been getting involved in the challenges. She got off the raft, so people obviously think she's a faithful, because like she's taken one for the team. And obviously out of the 5 that were up for nomination to be murdered, Mina said that, you know, Cass is probably going to end up getting banished tomorrow anyway, so we can leave him alone. If they get rid of Freddie, that puts heat on Maya, and I guess if they get rid of Maya, it puts heat on Freddie, so either way, I guess, for that. And she also said that she seems like Charlotte and Joe are traitor hungry, so they need to kind of split the two of them up. So if they get rid of Charlotte, then Joe's basically on his own. So they left Kaz and they left Jake alone, so it's either Maya, Freddie or Charlotte who's going to be the next one to get murdered. Maya purely for the fact of, well, 2 sisters couldn't be traitors, and puts Freddie in a bad position. If they get rid of Freddie, it puts Maya in a bad position. And if they get rid of Charlotte, at least people will know that she wasn't a traitor, but then they're going to go after the people that she was hanging out with as well. Linda said, without Armani, the traitors are now stronger. And then right at the end of the episode 3, we basically saw this carriage with traitor-looking masks coming through. I think there was 2 figures sitting on it. The carriage going through. And there was just a sign that said, rail replacement carriage. And I thought, excuse me, what? So I think I was right from the first episode when we had the train with 25 people, the 3 that got off, Fozia, Jake and, was it his name, Cameron? Or Alex? I don't think I even wrote it down. But anyway, I can't remember who the 3rd guy was called, but yeah, so obviously Fozia, Jake and that other guy got off the bus, or the train, and you just saw a little glimpse of the train again. So what I'm thinking is, the traitors are either going to be able to recruit another traitor, or all 3 of them are going to come back into the show. So whatever happens will be interesting. But if you did enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And until my next review, thank you for watching and goodbye.